And away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, all ages, the big show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. This is the Rob Brown Show. I am Rob. Howdy. Great to be with you one more time again. Back in the network studio, pushing the button, switching the switches, in charge of the broadcast. He is Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks, the content cash cow, the great one, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. Lonzo is in charge of the broadcast. What up, Zoe?
I would like to say welcome to all of those countries who flagged us yesterday. Welcome.
So yesterday, we were streaming. Well, we stream every day, but we were streaming the show yesterday on the Rob Brown Show YouTube account. And during one of our virtual radiothon montages, the song Let It Be by the Beatles played. And I got a copyright report that said they were pulling the video down off of YouTube because the video was blocked by Cuba, Iran, Syria, and North Korea, which, of course, Lonzo, we have huge followings in Cuba, Iran, Syria, and North Korea. It is complete. If you've ever questioned whether Zoe and I love freedom, we managed to upset the entire axis of evil yesterday, Lonzo.
You know, I immediately thought of my railing against communism yesterday during the Fight Club and thought, maybe it's that. And then I saw it was a song. I want to credit for that, but okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go. It's kind of funny and it's kind of sad and it's weird.
In my head, when I got that notification yesterday, Lonzo, I saw the image of Kim Jong-un sitting in his office with his stupid little haircut on his fat, chubby, stupid little face and looking at his computer with a bunch of North Korean generals going, sir, we cannot allow this voice to be aired in our country. And then sending an email to Iran, Cuba, and Syria saying, we are firmly against the Rob Brown Show with Rob and Lonzo. We demand that you, and the entire axis of evil pulled our video yesterday, Lonzo. I got to say, I'm impressed with us.
You know, that man show is going to be jealous because, yeah.
We're just out here on the cutting edge of fighting for we are basically the Captain America of radio at this point.
We got banned by communism. What have you guys done?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is day numero dos of our virtual radiothon for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. We want to thank you, first and foremost, for all of the donations that you guys sent in yesterday. We were very, very grateful for those. We are doing it again today. Yesterday, we raised a good chunk of money. Lonzo, I have it on no certain grounds that courteous of the very generous donation from Neil, as well as all the other callers and texters that attach their name to it, Zoe, that, Mark Ryan and I talked earlier this week, and we said our goal is to have ESPN Upstate really show up in the virtual radiothon in terms of donations. We want to be able to beat some of the other radio stations in our cluster in terms of donations. And I got an email yesterday towards the end of the evening, Zoe, that said that we did work yesterday for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. So thank all of you who gave yesterday. If you haven't, within your resources, your capability, if you are feeling ever so generous, please feel free to do so again. We are trying to not just raise money for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate, but to really give these kids that are in the hospital, give them resources, give them opportunities. We are trying to get them as comfortable through just a bad hand dealt to them as we possibly can. You can get in touch and donate by calling 1-877-719-5437, 1-877-719-5437, or you can text Radio Cares to the Tremolo Mills text line by texting text Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999. 91999. That's the Tremlin Mills text line. Text Radio Cares. And for just 50 cents a day, that is $15 a month, you can become a miracle maker for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. They do incredible work. No child is ever turned away from the Children's Hospital of the Upstate, regardless of their ability to play. Every dollar that you donate stays local to help improve life-saving patient care and equipment and pediatric research and life-saving facilities at the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. And if you wonder just how much work they do, ladies and gentlemen, last year, over 500,000 appointments were taken at the Prisma Health Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Look, we're not asking you to put yourself in a bad position. If you have lost your job, if you are out of resources right now, having a bit of a struggle, we understand. We completely understand. But if you have not, if you are in a good spot, if you still have resources, if you are capable of donating, we are asking you to do so. Today is the last day to give. We'll be announcing the grand total tonight at 7 p.m., but we need to get that number up as high as we possibly can. This hour, our shopping goal are for Playscape's wall activity boards. For kids about to go into surgery, which, heck, can be scary. Man, I'm a 36-year-old man. Last time I had to get sliced and diced, I was freaking out. These kids, through no fault of their own, frequently find themselves in a spot where they have to get surgery. These activity boards, these activity wall, they hang up on the wall. They are full of games and mazes and word searches and activities for these kids. It gives them not just a distraction, but a very big distraction, something to take their eyes off of and their mind off of the surgery that they are about to go into. They are looking to buy 4 of these. We need only 7 miracle makers by 1 p.m. or 4 people to donate $299 a piece, and we can get these activity walls for the kids. Again, if you would like to donate, please call 1-877-719-5437, 1-877-719-KIDS, or text Radio Cares, all one word, to the Tremlin Mills text line at 91999. Make sure when you call in that you tell them that you've been listening to ESPN Upstate, and let's show these kids and let's show the world how big the ESPN Upstate heart is. All right, that's what we're doing today. That's what we're here for, and we hope that you will pitch in and help. We are very grateful again to everybody that participated yesterday. It was absolutely incredible. We are tremendously grateful. Our buddy Neil led the charge, and there were so many more of you guys that chimed in. And again, we are incredibly grateful to you for helping out with this. Again, call 1-877-719-KIDS to donate, or text Radio Cares to 91999. All right, let's talk some sports. Let's get into it, Zoe. Let's do that little thing we do.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
It is the lunch breakdown. The 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. We start with item number 1. We have got a couple of bits of news and notes as we get set for the Summer Olympics of 2020/2021. 2 stories coming out yesterday. The first one that came out is that Japan has reinstated a coronavirus emergency in that country. That is not great news. Now, there's good news and there's bad news that is attached to that. The good news is that the coronavirus emergency that has been put into place is a small emergency, and it is only in 3 states across Japan. Tokyo is not involved in those, so hopefully the Olympics will be able to continue in Tokyo when the opening ceremonies are set to go. But there are concerns as if folks from those 3 smaller states that are having another outbreak of the coronavirus, if folks from inside of that region were to begin traveling to Tokyo before widespread vaccinations take place, if there is another burst of the coronavirus there in Tokyo, there are concerns that the Olympics may have to be postponed or canceled. But we are keeping an eye on this situation. So far, it appears that Japan and the Tokyo Olympics Committee are trying to make sure that they stay on target, trying to make sure that these Olympics take place. Obviously, this is a concern. The second bit of news that came out yesterday, the Tokyo Olympic Committee and the International Olympic Committee threw out a reiteration of a ban on protests during the game. The IOC and the Tokyo Olympic Committee said that players taking a knee, raising a fist, etc., was not allowable under the Olympic rules, and that those athletes could face some type of punishment. The IOC has said it will clarify what punishments athletes could face if they do indeed protest on the podium or at the Olympic Games as a whole. Now, we have had a couple of United States athletes that have said, including Gwen Berry, a 2016 Olympian, a 2020 hopeful in the hammer throw, that she believes that it is, quote, insufficient, end quote, and ridiculous, end quote, that protests would not be allowed by athletes at the Olympics. The USOPC in December called on the IOC to end its prohibition of peaceful protests and said that it would not punish its own athletes for such protests. The IOC unanimously approved a mostly unchanged policy Wednesday. Its review was in part based on a survey of over 3,500 athletes from around the world. The survey found that strong majorities of athletes believed it was inappropriate to, quote, demonstrate or express their individual views on political issues and other topics during the ceremonies, including medal ceremonies and on the field of play, end quote. So we'll be, I'm sure, talking more about this as we get closer to the Olympics. Again, as of right now, the IOC nor the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee have come out and said that they will punish. The IOC and Tokyo Olympic committees have said that they are evaluating what punishments, if any, might be put into place. Item numero dos. Lonzo, we talked a little bit about our UFC event this weekend. The 261 event for UFC between Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal is official. Both fighters made weight earlier today, and now only hours sit between them and a second clash for the UFC welterweight title. Both of the fighters tipped in at exactly 170 pounds. Both men successfully made weight for their first matchup back at UFC 251 in July of last year as well, but there was a noticeable difference this time around. Masvidal took the fight with Usman on 6 days' notice and claimed he had to cut 26 pounds during fight week in order to make weight. He was given roughly 6 weeks' notice for this rematch, and he looked noticeably more energetic when he stepped on the scale. Zoe, I don't know if you got a chance to watch the weigh-in, but they are exactly right. Jorge Masvidal looked like a different dude when he weighed in today versus the weigh-in for the last fight. I talked yesterday. I took Usman. I stick by that pick. But I got to tell you, Zoe, that weigh-in, I don't usually say this, that weigh-in got me kind of excited about the match.
Oh, I'm definitely excited about this. And you talked about it. And when we talked about it yesterday, I forgot the circumstance about why. I knew Masvidal took the fight on short notice. I forgot how short of a notice and the amount of weight that he had to lose in that short amount of time. That takes its toll. And he looked gassed the entire fight. Well, now he's not going to be that way, more than likely. He looks like he's in great shape. This should be a great fight. And I'm still sticking with Masvidal.
We will be breaking that down a little further later on in the show. And finally, item number 3 in the lunch breakdown, as we are now less than a week away from the first round of the NFL draft. Reports coming out that Miami is actively shopping to move back from the number 6 overall draft pick. The pick originally was the Eagles, but Miami acquired it in the deal that sent number 3 overall pick to the number 3 overall pick to the 49ers. The Dolphins are fielding calls from multiple front offices eager to jump up to the top of a talent-laden draft, and Rappaport reported it earlier this week. He has got confirmation now. There are rumors that the Chicago Bears are in the discussion to jump up, as they think there may be a quarterback there that could fill the spot after they signed Andy Dalton in free agency. If Mac Jones, Justin Fields, or Trey Lance falls there, Chicago is a likely jump to try to get in there. It certainly would take a massive haul, but of course Miami already has Tua Tagovailoa. Big question marks coming into this draft about whether or not Tua was the dude at the QB spot and whether Miami might go quarterback at number 6. We don't have an answer yet. We may get one closer to the draft. So that's where we're at right now. Carolina sitting there at number 8, Lonzo. You know, we talked a lot about it yesterday with Rashad Beard. If Miami does jump out of 6, and let's say a Chicago jumps up there and takes a quarterback at number 6, one more QB off the board, it pushes the Kyle Pitts of the world further back down the draft board. I've been saying, Zoe, that I thought the smart move for Carolina was to trade back, but now that I have looked at it, I'm kind of thinking 8 might be the same as having the 3rd or 4th overall pick. I'm thinking there might be more talent there at number 8 than we thought there would be a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely, but you're still seeing the experts out there, some of the experts saying that it's going to be the Patriots that are somehow going to trade with the Panthers, but they should stay where they are and get a good pick. Don't trade with the Patriots. Come on.
There is a very strong possibility. There is a very strong possibility that the Patriots could jump up there. I have seen a pretty hefty number of folks that have said that the Patriots are in love with Trey Lance and see him as a Cam Newton style player. Not quite as big, but with that very violent running style, a guy not afraid to take chances, etc. That might not be an awful pick. Zoe. Trey Lance getting to spend a year in the shadow of Cam Newton under Belichick's system, that's a real possibility in play. Pushes Lance up the board, pushes other guys down the board. Carolina at 8, again, it's looking like it might be the equivalent of a 3rd or 4th overall pick. So we'll talk about that later on in the show as well. But when we come back here in just a minute from right now, we are going to share with you the story of one of the miracle kids that has received treatment from the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. We are asking you to contribute. We don't ask for money very often, but we are today. Call 1-877-19-KIDS, 1-877-19-5437, or text Radio Cares to 91999, the Treble Bills text line. And when we come back, we are going to share the incredible story of one young person who receives treatment from the Children's Hospital so you can get an idea of exactly where your money's going to help. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Let's see. Steven says, today is the release of the new Mortal Kombat movie. That said, what is your favorite line from the Mortal Kombat universe? Mine would have to be the one word from day 4. Whoopsie! I don't know if I'd say that's my favorite, Steven, but it is the one I use the most, without a doubt. Anytime something goes wrong around me, my response is almost inevitably, whoopsie. It's a great one. What else we got? Ron, can't hang around, but I've seen this. The Northwest Florida State College women's basketball team is the NJCAA D1 Natty Final 4 today at 5 o'clock. If they win, the final will be tomorrow, and there's a chance they can face Chipola. How about that, Rano? How about that? Little Florida Panhandle basketball love. The Panhandle, of course, a hot spot in basketball lately. Northwest Florida State College, for those of you who don't know, you remember Oregon's run to the Elite Eight this year. They had a young man on that team, Chris Duarte, and Chris Duarte actually played his ball at Northwest Florida State College at the JUCO level before he transferred up to Oregon. We talk about talented draft classes all the time. What class is the least talented class or the biggest bust class? That's a good question, Keegan. But I'd have to really sit and put some time into that, man. I'd have to really sit and put some time into that. Good question, though.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The NASCAR weekend begins Saturday at Talladega Superspeedway with the ARCA Series and the Xfinity Series running. And
Rubbin's racing, boys. Zoe, who's your favorite Mortal Kombat character to play with?
All right, I got to be honest here. I haven't played Mortal Kombat in I don't know, decades probably. I played it in arcades back in the day, and played it a little bit on some earlier systems. But it's not that I didn't get into it too much. But then once I had kids, I wanted to keep them away from fatalities and all that kind of stuff, or fatalities. So I missed a good chunk of a window there, and then I found other fighting games that weren't so graphic. I'm not against it, by the way, and I am looking forward to watching the movie. But in the interest of having young children, I missed out on a lot, especially all those DLC characters that are movie characters and things that are. Yeah, I missed out on all that. So
I was always a Scorpion guy. I mean, Scorpion. I was always a Scorpion guy. Back A, get over here. Forward B, the teleport punch. Still got him. My brother was Sub-Zero because my brother and I just disagreed on everything.
No, Keegan, I haven't seen the season finale yet.
I have. You want to talk about it? I'm just kidding.
I can't stop you, but you also can't stop me from leaving the room while you do it.
True story. Now, I'm not going to talk about it other than today. We'll talk about it next week. So how do we feel? I got to tell you, man. Keegan, the idea for the Friday fandom segment, that's not a terrible idea. Can we get away with that, or is it going to be too much hashtag stick to sports?
Who are you worried about? Okay. I was gonna say because
the boss cares.
I was gonna say if you're worried about that, I wouldn't worry about that.
No, I think the boss cares. I wonder if the listening audience would care if we did that. I mean, it's one segment a week.
Well, a portion of the listening audience just suggested it.
That's also true. Listeners did suggest it.
Yeah. So
Keegan and I were texting earlier today because I got up this morning. I wanted to watch the series finale before we got on the air. Keegan and I were texting back and forth. I'm just saying, Zoe.
It's a family event for us, so I'm waiting till later to watch it.
I got you. That makes sense.
We got food coming. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna watch that, and then I'm gonna watch Mortal Kombat.
For a quote today.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. One of the things that we are doing for Virtual Radiothon this year is sharing the stories of some of the kids who have had their lives changed for the better by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. And there is there's something special about being able to hear these kids tell their stories and hear the families tell their stories and understand just where your money is going to. It's one thing to say, hey, I want to donate money for the kids. It's another thing when you get to actually hear, listen to, see, experience how this money is helping. So with that said, we wanted to play you yet another story of a child who has had their life impacted by the better by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate.
Hi, everybody. I'm Anders. And hi, I'm Kat. I am a mom to 3 kids, Anders, Hallie, and Evan. So I had my first child in 2008, and it was Anders. He was and is a very typical rambunctious boy. And then in 2010, my daughter Hallie was born, and she came 5 weeks early, but we weren't really that worried about her, even though she was a little bit of a preemie. She only had low body temperature and low birth weight, and so we stayed in the hospital a little extra time, not even in the NICU. And then we went home and launched into 9 weeks of having 2 little kids and thinking everything was just perfect in the world. Hallie didn't really develop. When we went to her 2-month well child check, we were a little bit worried because we had not noticed her making eye contact and her muscle tone was pretty low, but we weren't that worried. We just thought it was because she had been born a little bit early. When we got home that afternoon, we got a call from our doctor, and she said the EEG was bad and in a really bad way. Hallie's not going to be able to walk or talk, and she's probably going to need resources for her entire life. And it was of course, there are no words to describe that feeling. We got a loose diagnosis of mitochondrial disease.
Sometimes when Hallie has seizures, it scares me super bad. Like sometimes my mom has to get up in the night and go in, and it wakes me up, and it scares me super bad because I don't want her to go to the hospital. And like so one seizure can cause so many problems, and it just really scares me. Thank you for helping my sister and kids like me.
Honestly, I can think of no better cause than donating to Children's Miracle Network. Just this whole act of love that is taking care of children in the hospital who are sick and who need to get better, and all of the services that go into helping those children. All of that's just so important. And so we really appreciate you considering donating, and truly your dollars will go to a wonderful cause.
This miracle moment brought to you by Ingalls.
Here's something I bet you didn't know. Every year, the Children's Hospital uses 623,000 Band-Aids. We really need your help.
This Prisma Children's Hospital Upstate Fact is brought to you by REWA.
You're listening to the Children's Hospital Radiothon on ESPN Upstate.
There you go. There's a story of young Hallie Ching, who was, after an EEG, was tested positive for mitochondrial disease, diagnosed with it. Hallie's parents were told that she may never walk or talk. But today, at age 11, Hallie, despite going to 8 standing appointments with therapists and other helpers every week, Hallie's making progress. Her seizures are coming under control. She's been gaining weight. Her eye contact has improved, and her family is celebrating these little victories because of folks like you, who have donated, who have helped with our virtual radiothon, who have helped contribute to the Children's Hospital. So if you're sitting here wondering, should I call into 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437? Should I text Radio Cares, one word, to 91999, the Tremolo Mills text line? Should I do it? I want you to think about Hallie and Hallie's family, and the fact that despite immense medical needs, her needs are being met by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate, by the folks who work there, and it wouldn't be possible without people like you donating to help save the lives of kids like Hallie Ching. So thank you to everybody who's donated so far. We are incredibly, incredibly grateful to you. And those of you who are considering donating, please do. We don't ask for money very often. I think we do it once a year, and this is it. This is it. So please feel free to donate. Feel free to contribute. We are eternally grateful to you for being willing to help. By the way, we are looking for those Playscape wall activity boards for the kids. It's something to kind of help keep their mind off of surgery as they get prepared for operations. We need 7. We've already got 2. We got 2 before we even started the segment. We need just 5 more in order to hit our goal. So again, do us a favor, call 1-877-719-KIDS or text Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999 for just 50 cents a day. You can help us meet all the goals that we have set for our virtual radiothon. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, a rule change in college football for this year. What impact might it have? We'll tell you next on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Thirty seconds.
30 seconds.
Real, unfiltered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you be a part of the show at 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN. Text us at 71307, 71307. College overtime rule change has been put into place. College football teams will now be required to attempt a two-point conversion after touchdowns in the second overtime period of games rather than the third, according to a change approved yesterday by the NCAA's Playing Rules Oversight Panel. The NCAA Football Rules Committee last month recommended the change as part of an effort to limit plays and end games sooner. Teams will still have the option to attempt a PAT after a first touchdown in the first overtime, but after the first overtime, teams will be obligated to go for 2. Stanford coach David Shaw, chair of the Rules Committee, told ESPN in March that the 7 overtime game between Texas A&M and LSU, which the Aggies won in a basketball score 74-72, prompted the discussion to change the overtime rule. Shaw said, quote, "We had an overtime game against UCLA, and Chip Kelly went for 2 after the second overtime, and I didn't blame him. one bit. We've been playing for a lot of plays, and he had a couple of injuries on both teams. It was time to say, hey, you know what? We'll either make this and win or not get it and lose and go on. This is a safety issue. This is a length of game issue and a number of plays issue. If a game enters a third overtime session, teams will alternate 2-point conversion attempts until a winner is determined. Previously, teams had started possessions on their opponent's 25 for the first 4 overtime sessions before going to the alternate 2-point plays in the 5th session. Other changes approved include permanently extending sideline team areas to the 20 rather than the 25, and including video board and lighting system operators among those prohibited from creating distractions that obstruct play. Penalizing taunting will be a point of emphasis for officials during this season as well. Coaches who leave the team areas and enter the field to debate officiating calls will also now receive unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. The Playing Rules Oversight Panel also supported a Rules Committee proposal that would allow schools or leagues to request post-game reviews about feigning injuries. 2 of these are, I think, massive discussion points, Lonzo. The first is the change to overtime. We are now at a spot where if a game enters a third overtime session, they will not start at the 25, and they will instead basically run repeated 2-point conversion attempts until one team or the other wins. I don't know, Zoe. I'm kind of in the middle on this. On one hand, I completely understand the argument. I understand player safety. I understand trying to limit the number of plays. You don't want guys out there running 5-6 overtimes at 8, 9, 10, 12 plays every additional overtime. But at the same time, to have a game come down to who's better with 1.5 yards or 2 yards between you and the goal line, I don't know that we're necessarily going to find out who the better football team is from that.
You know, I'm good with that, but the fact that you're in your second overtime means that, you know, at least one touchdown was scored by both. And so what happens if they both make the 2-point conversion?
You spin it and run it back.
It's the same rule, so it goes 2-point conversion from then on.
So instead, now it just becomes a 2-point conversion fest. First one to not get it loses, basically.
So how's that fix anything?
I mean, it's one play instead of multiple series. I mean, if you start from the 25-yard line, you're talking about the possibility of, up to 4 down drives there, or 4 down efforts.
Okay.
4 downs to get a first down, 4 downs to get a second down, 4 downs to score. Now it's every overtime is 2 plays long. You either get it or you don't.
This seems like one of those rule changes just to say you changed the rule, because how often does this happen? I know the example that you gave, but other than that, how often does it happen? Overtime, more than one overtime. It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, it's not often that we see a school get to 3, 4, 5 overtimes. I remember watching that LSU Texas A&M overtime game. I was at a little bar down in Destin, and it was absolutely bananas. Look, I understand, I get it, and 90% of the time, I am in favor of rules that are put into place to make the game safer when those rules don't pull away from the game. My only question here is going to be, are we really going to figure out who the best team is if we get down to a point where, because here's the deal. 2 yards, though, it seems to me like the team with the best power run game wins that, right? Like the team that has the best power run game ends up winning that. If you are a Chip Kelly's Oregon, that is a high-flying aerial assault, 2.5 yards is tough to pick up, man. It ain't easy. So I worry about that a bit. The other rule that I'm intrigued in is going to be the rule where schools will be allowed to request post-game reviews of players feigning injuries. I don't love when a guy goes down, when people start chanting, he's faking, because you don't know. You ain't a doctor and you're not down there. But I also respect, understand, recognize that it happens, right? Defense is getting churned up by a fast-paced, no-huddle offense, and all of a sudden the linebacker's knee goes bad. So he goes down, the defense resets. 2 plays later, he's back out there on the field. Problem is, I don't understand what a review is going to do after a game, right? Like, are they going to go back and go, yep, we flipped the results because we're pretty sure the linebacker was hurt? I don't know if you can pull that off.
Yeah, they're not going to do all they're going to get out of it is an apology. I mean, that's it. You're going to get an apology. And then then there's an argument. And what does the argument get you? It gets you nothing. If they're not going to change the results of a game because of a feigned injury, what's the point of pointing out, yeah, it wasn't a real injury? I don't get it. And unfortunately or fortunately, it depends on it's a part of the game, and it happens at all levels.
Yeah, it does. I mean, look, I've seen it, and I've seen it happen at all levels.
I've been in games where the coaches said, "Hey,
yeah,
who's going down?" Yeah,
take a dive. You send out your third string linebacker to play one play and take a dive. Absolutely, I know it's happened. But again, the question is, how would you fix this? Right? Like, what's the opportunity to fix this? Because I don't see one. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Also, will be a rule where coaches that leave the sideline to enter the field to debate officiating calls will receive unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. As Keegan just asked, how many unsportsmanlike will Nick Saban get? Well, they have to actually enforce the rules. All of them. He's going to get all of those penalties, just all of them.
You know what's awesome about this is there's some assistant coaches going to have to go to Clemson and learn from Brent Venable's get-back coach.
I believed in you the whole time, buddy.
Yeah. I got there, though, didn't I? I got there. Brent Venable's get-back coach, who is, charged with keeping him off the field every single game, which is very difficult. So now there's going to be someone on every single team that's going to have to pull the coach back before he goes on the field. I don't have a problem with them being penalized for it. They need to stay off the field.
Yeah. It's I've seen that for years, and that's
but you brought up Saban. Will they enforce it on him?
I mean, I think you have to, right? Like, could you imagine if one guy's doing it, if Saban's doing it, they don't flag him, and then Shane Beamer goes out there and they do?
Actually, I could imagine that. I could see that happening.
Let me rephrase that. What will the fan reaction be when they already believe that college football has a love affair with Nick Saban that lets him get away with stuff, if Saban's not getting flags and Shane Beamer is?
It's okay. They'll just review it later and apologize.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we missed that one. Sorry.
Keegan brings up a good point here. Players get too unsportsmanlike in their tossed. If a coach gets too you going to toss Nick Saban? You going to toss Dabo? You going to toss Dabo for coming out on the field twice? You going to toss that big boy? Good luck. Some of these rules, I think, come from a good place. So, zero idea how they're going to enforce them.
It's window dressing. It's fan service. It's saying, hey, we're going to do this, and they're not going to do it. They're not. I hope I'm wrong, because I think it should be a penalty. I think they need to stay off the field. The players aren't allowed to go in there. Why should they be allowed to go in there?
844 GSP ESPN 844-477-3776 is the number. Text us 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. The text line is open. Text us at 71307. Your response to these new rule changes within college football. Be happy to hear about them. Let's take a break. We'll come back here. We'll wrap up hour number 1. My name is Rob Lonzo with the helm. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
They just showed the Masvidal weigh-in. Man, dude is cut. You ready to go?
Can we talk about this 70s detective theme that you're playing there? Kind of dig that.
It's been played before, but I'm glad you finally noticed it. But you haven't heard music in a while.
I haven't.
So there's that.
That is correct.
It's called Funky Freestyle.
I like it. I felt like I needed to grow a mustache and give me the badge and a gun, Brownski.
We'll see if that gets flagged by management. It's a little too peppy and upbeat. Gotta get rid of that.
Lonzo with the literal get off my grass take.
I am a grandpa after all.
Get off of my lawn.
You know, I had a moment like that yesterday.
You had a get off my lawn moment?
Pulling into the driveway, and I share a driveway with some relatives, and it's a pretty long driveway leading to the compound. But there were like skateboarders up at the top, and it's gravel, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So I mean, and I'm thinking, there's no way he's going to give it a shot, and he did, and a little disappointed he didn't bail, but I mean, just for the sheer stupidity of trying to go down a hill on a skateboard when it's nothing but rocks and dirt. But they're just like sitting across the driveway. And there's some rental properties around. Come to find out that one of the kids lives in one of my aunt's rental properties.
Kids were playing and you were upset about it?
No. They were in my way. They were impeding me getting in the driveway. And I didn't recognize them. And it's private property. And I would have hated to have taken that skateboard, because I guarantee you, at my age and a grandpa, I'd have made it further down that hill and wouldn't have bailed. But that's just me. I have no problem with them being, skater boy types. I think I was just more not understanding why you bring your skateboard for a hill like that when you just can't do anything. It's just, are you impressing those girls? I don't think you are. I don't know. Maybe you did. If you were living in a home and you came home and there were like, skater people like scattered across your driveway, what would you do?
I mean, as long as I can get into my driveway, I don't care. Like, just step out of the way for 6 seconds and then go back to doing your thing. If you want to skate down a gravel hill, by all means.
Would you have rolled down the window and went, dude, what are you thinking?
That's not how skateboards work, bro.
Yeah, there's a church lot like right across the street with hills and blacktop. Go over there. Unless maybe you're not really that good of a skater. And yeah.
Lonzo is a skatist. Keegan's coming in hot today, man.
No, man, I'm the OG skateboarder.
Keegan's coming in hot. Did you used to board, bro?
Absolutely. I remember in college, me and two other guys skateboarding by the dean's office, and we got stopped by campus police. And they didn't believe we were on the football team, which was an interesting conversation. It was on a Sunday. Was not really big into the tricks, but I loved the downhill because the excitement of it and the fact that you can't bail till you hit the bottom.
Yep.
Hopefully not literally.
My brother was a longboarder. He used to go in Pensacola and just bomb hills, bro.
It's exhilarating. I probably have a heart attack now, but I'm down with that nickname. 1 minute.
Did you see my new Twitter name, by the way?
I did. I was pretty happy about that. I wonder if someone else has changed theirs to just Greg yet.
Nope. More appropriately, he is the D. Don't know if he knows what that means.
30 seconds. Of course, Mark Manley didn't see that it was funny at all.
Dispensing real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob Brown. Lonzo back in the palatial ESPN Upstate studios, pushing the button switch and the switches, making the show sound as good as he does today. Interesting story that broke earlier in this week. It was announced that Justin Fields has told NFL teams that he actually suffers from epilepsy. Sources say teams became aware during the pre-draft process that Fields manages epilepsy. That is a neurological disorder that can cause seizures, but it hasn't affected Fields' football career. And doctors are confident he will continue to grow out of it, as other family members of Justin Fields that suffer from epilepsy have as well. He was diagnosed as a youth. Fields has seen his symptoms get shorter and less frequent over time, and he doesn't have seizures as long as he takes his medicine, according to a source. He's projected as a first-round pick, obviously, in the NFL draft, which starts a week from yesterday. Sources say medical staffs have discussed Fields' treatment plan and whether any events during his NFL career, such as a concussion, might put him at greater risk, but Fields has no documented absences from games during a college career in which he was a Heisman Trophy finalist, a two-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, and led the Buckeyes to a national championship game appearance last January. Ryan Day said, quote, Justin's health, toughness, and work ethic have never been an issue, and I am incredibly proud of his professionalism and the character he displays on and off the field. The fact that he never missed a game at Ohio State speaks volumes about how he takes care of himself, end quote. Now, Fields would not be the first NFL player, if he was to do so, to excel with epilepsy. Pro Football Hall of Famer Alan Faneca, guard, who played for years in Pittsburgh, took medication to control seizures throughout his career as well. In 2007, Baltimore Ravens standout safety Samari Rolle had 3 major seizures, keeping him out of 6 games before doctors corrected his medication and he was able to return to the team. There's not a whole lot to get into here, Lonzo. I mean, we can ask the question, if you're a team, are you looking at moving Justin Fields down your board because you know that there is the possibility that this neurological disorder could end up impacting him down the road? But the dude has made it through a college career, a stressful college career. It has not bothered him during his time at Ohio State. If I'm one of the other teams that is looking at Justin Fields, man, I'm hoping some teams move him down the draft board over this. I'm not moving him at all. Can't hear you, by the way.
I don't see this as a factor because this is the first we've heard about it. You know, and I'm a pretty big Ohio State Buckeyes fan. This is the first time I've heard about it. So, and I think there are a lot of people. It's like, what? Huh? And that just attests to the fact that he takes care of himself and the fact that he takes his medication and he's been fine throughout his career. So I don't see why it would be a deterrent.
Yep, completely agree. I completely agree with you. I don't see why any team would move him down the list based on this diagnosis. Pardon me. And what the heck? Terrible timing. Based on this diagnosis and the timing of it, I still think that, and you know, look, Vegas has, and we're going to talk about this later in the show as well. Vegas has once again moved Mac Jones up the board. Remember Mac Jones initially, when the first round of lines came out, Mac Jones was initially listed as the 3rd overall pick in the draft, going to San Francisco at number 3. Then there was a flip-flop for a couple of weeks. Justin Fields was the Vegas odds-on favorite to end up as the number 3 pick to San Francisco. Now those odds have flipped back after this diagnosis. Justin Fields has now moved down the board, and Mac Jones is once again the Las Vegas odds-on favorite to be the number 3 selection to the San Francisco 49ers. Look, if there's a team out there that passes on Justin Fields because of this diagnosis, I'm going to tell you straight up and in advance, they will be sorry about it. They will be sorry about it. You can bank on that. They will be sorry about it. All right, real quick before we head to a break, remind you one more time that we are hosting the virtual radiothon for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. I wanted to very quickly read you a text that came in during the last break. It's from our buddy Hurricane Jeff, one of our P1s. Hurricane Jeff texted in and said it seems somewhat coincidental that the radiothon is taking place at this time due to the fact that I have had a child that was in the Prisma Care system and was well looked after by the doctors, nurses, and attendants. Jessica and her twin brother Jacob were born on the 8th of September in 2014. She had a birth weight of 1 pound 10 ounces and was born 13 weeks premature. She was diagnosed with Edwards syndrome, which is a developmental disease, and we were told that she would not be able to live more than 2 weeks after birth. The doctors and nurses in the Prisma healthcare system took her and took care of her like she was one of their own. Sadly, Jessica passed away on April 26, 2017 due to conditions dealing with her heart, which was a part of her illness. To this day, it's still officially that we lost her, but I know that she is in a much better place now. I just wanted to bring attention to the Prisma healthcare system because they were instrumental in giving her every chance at life. By the way, Jacob is still very healthy today. Please donate if you can. So there is a story from a listener of ESPN Upstate who is telling you exactly how important this Prisma Healthcare Radiothon is, how important the Children's Hospital of the Upstate is, and exactly what happens to your dollars when you donate them. They stay here in the Upstate. They help take care of the kids of the Upstate, including kids like Hurricane Jeff. So you have fellow listeners out there who have kids within the Prisma healthcare system and the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. And that is who you are helping when you donate. Again, do us a favor. Call 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437, or text Radio Cares, all one word, Radio Cares, to the Tremolo Mills text line at 91999 in order to donate. We are ever so grateful. Back after this with Hour 2 of The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate. WYRD.
Kind of bummed out, though. One of the Falcon X rockets flew over the Upstate today. I didn't know that was happening. I didn't get a good picture of it, but apparently it was a pretty cool little streak across the sky early this morning.
Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't know that.
check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown Lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Brown, Lonzo, you be a part of the program. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number to be a part of the program. Glad to have you on board. We are doing our virtual radiothon coming up for the rest of the day, all the way up until 7 o'clock this evening. Our virtual radiothon rolls on. We are thrilled to be a part of it. Zoe, we've talked about all the cool things, and we've gotten to do some really, really cool stuff over the years here with ESPN. Well, I guess over the year for me. Over the years, but this when I got here last year, Lonzo, I was here for about I guess about a week and a half before I got told, hey man, look, we hate to do this, we hate to ask you, but we're gonna have to have you be on remote all 5 days next week. And I said, why? And they said it's our radiothon to benefit the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. We broadcast live. All of our stations are there. All of our hosts go live. They said, we know you're just getting settled in. We know that you haven't even unpacked yet, but we got to ask you to show up. And I said, no. You don't have to ask me. I'm telling you right now, I'll absolutely do it. Well, obviously this year, because of the situation with the pandemic and COVID-19, we could not make it out to the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. So we said, how can we make this happen? And the folks that are running this gym and Mark and Devin and everybody that put this whole thing together said, well, what if we did it virtually? What if we made it happen, even if we can't be there? And here we are. And we have raised a good amount of money. We are going to release our final number coming up just after 7 o'clock tonight when we finish day number 2. And Zoe, of all the things that we have done on the air, some silly, some goofy, some serious, some fun. This is the most important thing we've done to be able to raise this much money, this many years in a row for the next generation, for the kids at the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. So this is one of those things I am very, very proud to be a part of.
Well, and I've been here for a very long time in the building, over a couple of decades. And as long as I can remember, we've been a part of this radiothon, and it's always look forward to every year. And we love doing what we can to get money for kids. And we appreciate our listeners who are giving, and don't put it off. If you were considering giving and you need to, do it today. Do it now.
Absolutely. Please. We are asking you, if you have, look, if you've been affected by the pandemic, if you have lost resources, you've been furloughed, your business is suffering. We understand. We're not asking you to tax your own resources. We're not asking you to tax yourself. But if you have not, if you've made it through the pandemic, fine. If you are still working, if your business is doing good, even if you just got that second stimulus check and you got just a little bit of it left over, do us a favor. Call 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437, or text Radio Cares, all one word, Radio Cares, to 91999. Text Radio Cares to 91999, the Tremolin Mills text line, and donate. This hour of the show is one of our power hours. This is our power hour. That means that if you donate this hour for our power hour, we are going to have different sponsors that are going to match up for the the donations in order to make sure that the amount of money coming in is doubled, which is awesome. It is a Trammell and Mills Power Hour. Our friends over at Trammell and Mills, who have sponsored the text line, are pitching in for this as well. Trammell and Mills is a group of local lawyers helping local people fight insurance companies and employers when they are injured. They help people get fair compensation for injuries they have incurred through no fault of their own, from motor vehicle collisions, dog bites, slip and fall injuries, product liability cases, drunk driving collisions, and work injuries. Partner Trey Mills came to Children's Hospital Upstate when, at the age of 2 months, his first child needed surgery. The law firm sees injured children every day, so sponsoring Children's Hospital of the Upstate Radiothon was a natural way for them to give back, and they are the sponsor of our Power Hour this hour. So again, call 1-877-719-5437, 1-877-719-KIDS, or text Radio Cares, all one word, RADIOCARES, Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999 in order to donate. Again, we are ever so grateful. We are looking for those miracle makers. That's just $15 a month, 50 cents a day, in order to make a difference in the life of some of these kids. And again, thank you so very much to everybody who got involved, to everybody that has donated, to everybody that will that will continue to donate. We are again ever so grateful. Thank you. All right. A couple of stories that we are keeping an eye on. The NFL draft right now is a big one that we are looking at. Mac Jones is now once again a favorite to be drafted number 3 overall. The pendulum continues to swing regarding that pick. Via PointsBet, Alabama quarterback Mac Jones is now a minus 150 set to become the 3rd overall pick. Justin Fields now at 105. North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance has plus 325 odds. Last week, Fields became the favorite at minus 125. Jones had moved to plus 100 with Lance at plus 450. On March 29th, Lance was the favorite at plus 130. Fields had odds of plus 150, and Jones stood at plus 160. But by April 8th, Jones had moved to the 200 minus favorite, Fields at plus 250, Lance at plus 300. Now, there was a suggestion that the 49ers made the move without knowing which player they were ultimately going to take at that 3 spot. It's more than likely that the investment used to jump from 12 to 3 was with a specific player in mind. So now folks are looking to see if they can judge, if they can figure out who that specific player might be. And as of right now, the belief is that it is going to be Mac Jones, who is now once again the 3rd overall favorite. I'm intrigued by that. So, we've talked about all the different ways that this draft might play out. We've talked about all the different ways that the number 8 pick for Carolina might ultimately be impacted. This is a big one. This is a big one to discuss. If Mac Jones goes number 3, I think there starts to be a little bit of a panic left. I think you're going to see 2 things. Number 1, I think you're going to see a bunch of teams start to clamor to jump up to the top in order to get Justin Fields, who will likely take a bit of a tumble. Most of us don't think that the 4 spot is going quarterback, and most of us don't believe that the 5 or 6 spot are going quarterback, though there is a chance that the Miami Dolphins may indeed decide to go ahead and draft a QB at number 6. If the Dolphins do not decide to take a QB at 6, that means that Justin Fields may still be on the board at 7. A lot of us don't think he's going there. Justin Fields, if Mac Jones goes 3, may tumble all the way down to 8. And Lonzo, then the Carolina Panthers find themselves in a very sticky situation. On one hand, I think that's the point where teams will start throwing hauls to jump up and try to get the guy. But you also got to ask, is it worth you carrying 2 quarterbacks on the roster, picking up Justin Fields behind Sam Darnold? I'm going to tell you, Zoe, and you might disagree with me here, I don't think it is. I think your money's wrapped up in Sam Darnold. You picked up his 5th-year option. You believe he's the QB of the future. I believe if you bring in a second quarterback there, you just create a little bit of division that might damage that relationship before he takes his first snap, Lonzo.
So first of all, there was speculation that San Francisco moved up without a specific player in mind. That is stupid. That's just stupid. No, they didn't. No, they did. You don't make those trades as early as they did to move up unless you have a specific player in mind. Who thought that? I just that makes no sense at all. Whoever it is, whether it be Mac Jones or Justin Fields, they know who they want. They moved up there for that reason. If Justin Fields is, like you say, if he drops to 8, I agree with you. Carolina probably won't and shouldn't take him now because it will create a controversy that they don't need as a young team. Because as soon as Sam Darnold, if he has a bad game, and there's going to be, the fan reaction, hey, you just drafted Justin Fields, put him in, he'll do better, all that kind of stuff. When you're trying to build a team, I don't think that you go right away and cause yourself a quarterback controversy. And think of all the things you could do if Justin Fields is sitting there at 8, all the things you could pick up, including players and picks. Yeah, you got to go and trade that away especially if he's still there.
And I feel better because if Lonzo is saying that you got to trade away from Justin Fields, there makes me feel like my pick was my decision there is the correct one.
Now, if Sam Darnold wasn't there, yeah, you take him.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean them trading for him changed the entire thing. And yeah, I'm still a Justin Fields fan. It just doesn't make sense from a team standpoint to do that to yourself when you're trying to build something and trying to rebuild. Don't cause controversy. Don't put that in your locker room. You don't need that.
If Teddy Bridgewater's there, I'm taking Justin Fields all day. If Teddy Bridgewater's there, I might be trading up to get Justin Fields. But with Sam Darnold, look, you've picked your quarterback. You may not be thrilled about the quarterback you picked, but you picked your quarterback. That's the guy now. That's the guy.
Yeah, but you are thrilled about the quarterback you picked. I mean, you traded for him for a reason. You see something in him, and if you go out and draft another quarterback, you're saying, well, we kind of liked him, but just in case. And that doesn't give confidence to the team. It doesn't give confidence to the players. And it definitely doesn't give confidence to the quarterback that you just traded for.
So the question, a good chunk of the decision making for Carolina is going to come down to what you just said, Lonzo, which is, do they believe? I mean, I can't imagine they make that trade for Sam Darnold if they don't believe Sam Darnold's the guy, right? But is there any little bit of them that goes, yeah, but also, I mean, look what he did in New York. There were questions. There were questions in New York. If he's not going to be the guy here, right? If he's not going to be the guy here, then why not have a backup plan, right? Problem is, if you bring in the backup plan, the starting quarterback knows that he's working on a short leash, and that can impact how quarterbacks play. I talked about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. I was at the Senior Bowl, and I interviewed Jerry Glanville. You remember Jerry Glanville from the Raiders back in the days, though?
Oh yeah, he always left tickets for Elvis.
Yeah, man. Which, by the way, one of my coolest stories of all time. We were sitting there talking, and I asked Jerry Glanville for an interview, and he said, yeah. And I said, man, I don't know if I deserve to have Jerry Glanville on the air with me, And I was making a joke. And he looks, and so I don't know why this was like the most inspirational moment of my life. He goes, Mike, are you good enough to have me on the show or not? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And he goes, good. Either you is Elvis or you ain't. And it was like the most motivational thing anybody's ever said to me in my life, Lonzo. Either you is Elvis or you ain't. Anyway, we got to talking because there were a number of quarterbacks in the draft that year. I'm trying to remember what year it was, but it was the year Christian Ponder was in the draft at FSU. And there were talks about a couple of teams that might be looking at doubling up on quarterbacks. And I asked Jared Glanville, I said, hey, man, how do you feel about having two guys on your team that are quarterbacks that are both starting caliber? And he said, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it in today's age. And I said, why? And he said, because taking a quarterback is all about confidence. And anything you do that chips away at the confidence of a quarterback makes him worse. I'm not saying that him being 100% confident is going to make him a great quarterback, but anything that you do to chip away at his confidence is going to make him a worse quarterback. I wouldn't carry two. For me, Zoe, I agree with him. And for me, that's why if you are the Carolina Panthers, you are 100% looking either not quarterback or to trade back and stock up on picks, maybe add another first, maybe 2 firsts next year. 844 GSP ESPN 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307 71307. You can also jump at us on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at ESPN Upstate. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we are going to introduce you to yet another one of the miracle kids who have had their lives saved by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate, and share with you why and how your money goes to help these kids. That's next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Sorry about that coughing fit.
It's all good, man.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google Smart Speaker.
It's not like I didn't do exactly that on here. All right, hit the restroom, kids. I shall return. Did you ever watch Interstellar, Zoe?
Remind me who starred in it.
All right.
Probably not.
Oh, man, it's so good. If you're a space dork, I'm a space dork. I love outer space. I'm fascinated by it.
I do. I love the space movies. There are a lot of movies that had a similar name. That's the reason why I was asking. I was thinking of Inner Space when you said Interstellar for some reason. I'm guessing you've never seen Inner Space before.
I have.
I think it had Dennis Quaid in it, and it's more of a being shrunk down going into someone's body type thing.
I watched Mission to Mars again the other day. Great.
Yep, still haven't seen that either.
Oh, man. It's just a cheesy space Disney movie. Gets intense for a while.
There's no combat, though.
No. But people die.
Dying without combat is sad.
Go out with honor and a sword. And my axe.
There we go. Love the reference. I got to figure out what I can do to convince you to watch that Sasquatch thing.
I'm going to watch it.
Here's what convinced me. A lot of times I would listen to wrestling podcasts on my way home.
Right.
And so I put on Jericho's podcast on my way home yesterday, and he had the director on. And I listened to the first 10 minutes and I turned it off because I didn't want to spoil. Because he had me, and I knew he was going to start to spoil. And it's like, okay, all right. Jericho's into all that stuff. He's had Bigfoot hunters on and things like that. So it's like, okay, this director sold me in 10 minutes to watch the entire series. And we sit down and we watch it. I think it's like 3 40-minute episodes. And we just sit down and watch. I called my daughter. It was like, okay, I'm on my way home. Have this ready when we get home. We're watching this. So
Courtney and I last night sat down to watch. I flipped on Peacock because I knew that was there. And I knew the John Wayne Gacy documentary was on, which I wanted to watch. So we put on Peacock, and that one came up first. And started talking about it, and I said, I read the description, and the description at the end is like, and a sneaky suspicion that the murders may have been caused by a fantasy creature or whatever.
30 seconds.
I just kind of scoffed at it, and she was like, "Oh, here comes Rob. Nothing's real." I was like, "Oh, Zoe would get along with you so well right now."
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
It is the Rob Brown Show. It is ESPN Upstate. What up? How we doing, y'all? Great to be with you. Let's see. ESPN Rob. Jerry Glanville was with the Falcons and the Oilers, not the Raiders. I think I do keep saying that. He was wearing, when I interviewed him, oddly enough, he was wearing Raiders gear when I met him. And I think that was because he was doing some work with them at the Senior Bowl. But, let's see here. He went from, he was with the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills, the Houston Oilers, the Falcons again. Then in 2005, he went to Hawaii, Portland State, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Tampa Bay Vipers, and the Conquerors of the Spring League, where he is wow, Zoe. Jerry Glanville is the current head coach of the Spring League Conquerors. I don't know what that is.
You know what that means? I mean, have they started their season yet?
Again, I don't know what they are. So
well, there's one way to find. You've interviewed them before. Get them on the show. Why not?
Let's see. The Conquerors website, thespringleague.com. According to their website, the Spring League is the premier professional football development league in the United States and abroad. The majority of players who participate in the Spring League have spent time on an NFL active practice or preseason roster. Consists of 8 teams. The 2021 season will see the North Division headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana, with games at Lucas Oil. The South Division will operate out of Houston, Texas, with games at Rice Stadium. The Spring League also hosts showcases in the summer and fall to provide additional opportunities for players to be evaluated. 22 NFL teams attend the spring games. The median age of players in the spring league is 24. There are 104 players that have been signed out of the spring league to the NFL since 2017. It is sponsored by, sponsored by Riddle. So Riddle makes the equipment. Apparently the spring league.
You mean Rydell? Yeah, because Riddle's a bro.
Let's see. Who has played in the spring league? Johnny Manziel, Fred Jackson, Ahmad Bradshaw, Anthony Dixon, Zach Mettenberger, Ben Tate, Blake Jackson, Greg Hardy, Lorenzo Molden, Lorenzo Talaferro, David Greenidge, and Paul Butler are some of the NFL players that have played there. So I've never heard of the spring league before. Real quick, we want to share with you. We've been doing our virtual radiothon here and raising money for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate, which is one of the most important things that we do on air all year long. But we wanted to share with you the stories of some of the kids that have been helped by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Every dollar that you give stays local. It stays right here with the Children's Hospital of the Upstate to help the children of the Upstate. We wanted to share with you the stories, some of the stories of some of the kids who have been treated by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Now we're going to tell you about Brinkley Holder. Brinkley was diagnosed with Down syndrome and a heart defect. He was born 6 weeks premature and spent 7 weeks in the NICU. He was one of the many miracle kids who have had their life impacted by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Here's the story of Brinkley.
I'm Crystal Holder, and my son Brinkley Holder, who is currently 6 years old, is a patient at Prisma Health Children's Hospital. At our 20-week ultrasound during our pregnancy, we found out that our son was going to be a boy and that there were some abnormalities on the ultrasound, which started a journey of testing and investigation that led us to get a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome and congenital heart defect called tetralogy of Fallot. When he was born 6 weeks early and was admitted to the NICU for the first 7 weeks of his life. And since then, we've been frequent flyers at the Children's Hospital due to respiratory issues and some things initially related to the heart defect that he had. He's now 6 years old, and we don't spend quite as much time inpatient, but we are frequents at the outpatient clinics and in the specialty offices. The diagnosis was scary, but it was wonderful that once he was born, Child Life stepped in alongside of us to help prepare our older son, who was 4 at the time, for what that was going to look like once baby brother came home from the hospital, what the medical equipment was for, to help him not be afraid, and to also let him use medical play dolls and things of that nature to figure out his curiosity and to be able to put his hands on things in a way that it wasn't going to hurt baby brother or to do any damage, but it would serve to let him have a better understanding of what was going on. We have been incredibly blessed that the cardiology clinic here in Greenville is phenomenal. Dr. Roniker has been with us every step of the way. He goes above and beyond in every way to make sure that we are well cared for, that we understand what's going on with our son, that we have the resources that we need.
All of my love, all of my love, all of my love for you. All of my love, all of my love, yes, all of my love to you, child.
When you stay in the hospital that much, you need things that make you feel just like a regular kid. And one of those things for Brinkley is the therapy dogs. And he is obsessed with the dogs. As a parent of a child who spent weeks on end and sometimes months, including things like Christmas, New Year's, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, for a child that spends all those days and weeks and months in a hospital, it is so important for our hospitals to be able to help these kids feel like just regular kids, to give them kid experiences, to be able to provide things for them like toys to play with to keep their mind and their bodies engaged while they're in their hospital room, to provide things like a pull-out bed for parents to sleep on while they're spending weeks on end in a hospital room with our kids. We can't emphasize enough how much our kids just want to be kids, and your giving to things like Radiothon help make that possible with facility dogs, with toys, with beds for parents, These are the kind of things that make our stays a little more pleasant and a little more comfortable when it's not such a great and comfortable time for our families.
30 seconds.
This miracle moment brought to you by Ingalls.
Here's something I bet you didn't know. Every year, the Children's Hospital serves 125,000 cups of Jell-O. We really need your help.
This Prisma Children's Hospital Upstate Fact is brought to you by Rewa.
You're listening to the Children's Hospital Radiothon on ESPN Upstate.
There you go. There's the story of young Brinkley, who has been in the hospital for every holiday except Halloween. Spent 26 weeks of his first year in the hospital, but now he spends his time running around. His best friend is Dr. Runakar, says that he loves when he gets to go visit the doctors. And I got to tell you, Zoe, like I mentioned earlier, dude, I'm a 36-year-old man, right? I'm a 36-year-old man. I hate hospital. I hate hospital. I hate going to the hospital. I don't hate hospitals. I hate going to the hospital. It makes me nervous every time. I hate going to the hospital. Last year, when we did the Radiothon in person, it blew my mind. It was fascinating because these kids, to them, because the Children's Hospital of the Upstate is so good to these kids, to them, so many of them said, I love coming here. I love getting to see my doctors and my nurses and my friends, and they make it fun, which I know is a tough thing to say about a hospital. But so these people do such good work that these kids, so many of them, they're not afraid when they come to the hospital. It's not a scary thing for them. It's an unfortunate part of life, but they enjoy it. And that is because we have so many generous folks here in the Upstate that are able to give, that these doctors and these nurses can make the hospital less of a scary place full of needles and knives, but more of a place that these kids go to get treatment.
You know, and people all across the country will talk about how their community is the best community for giving, but no, it's not. It's this one. It's this one right here. This is the best community for giving. This is a caring community. This is a community that understands the need for the Children's Hospital, and they reach out and they give, and we really appreciate it. And that's why we do this every year, because so the kids can have that kind of an atmosphere and have a place to go where they're not afraid. And I'm like you, except I'm 52 and I'm scared of the hospital. So it's really cool that they can go there and they can not be afraid.
844-477-3776. Excuse me. Let me give you the number to donate because that's what we're looking for. 877-719-KIDS. 877-719-5437. Or text Radio Cares, all one word, to the Tremolin Mills text line at 91999. This is a Tremolin Mills Power Hour. They are matching donations to make your donations even more impactful. No child is ever turned away from this hospital, regardless of their ability to pay. And you are a big reason why they can say that. We have just 25 minutes left to get whatever you donate matched. We have already gotten 5 Miracle Makers for this hour. We need 5 more. That's just $15 a month to know that your money is going to help the kids of the Upstate. Every dollar stays local. It's absolutely incredible, and we are honored to be a part of it. We hope you will, again, donate by texting the Tremolin Mills text line. Shoot them a text at text Radio Cares to 91999 or call 1-877-719-5437. Quick break. We're back after this. Rob Lonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen.
All of my love, all of my love, all of my love to you, babe.
Let's see what Korea thinks about Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So what is the highest level you've ever reached on a video game that you can remember?
That's a really good question. Like, you talking about like how, like, in terms
leveled up a character.
I gotcha. I had a Skyrim character about, I don't know, 2-3 years ago that I think I had gotten him up into the mid 60s. The dude was kind of a monster. I went one-handed barbarian, so like I carried an axe in one hand, shield in the other.
Gotcha.
And I think that was it. But that was almost a job, though, because like every time I play Skyrim, I always start with a character in mind, and then I always, like everybody else, end up evolving into just a sneaky archer who uses magic. You know, that one I demanded of myself that I would not use magic. The only magic I used was forget what it's called, but the one where it would light up the path to wherever your next objective was.
Oh yeah. Oh, daggone it.
Premonition or something.
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would use that one just to make my path. But the character, because I basically role played this character, the character was adverse to magic. I didn't believe in magic. I didn't like magic. I thought if you were using magic instead of fighting, you were cheating. So I refused. I basically leveled up all like 1- and 2-handed combat, defense, yada yada yada. I think I got him into the 60s before I think I accidentally deleted that guy.
I don't know what the highest level of Skyrim character I have, but it's probably somewhere in the 60s. I only beat it once, but I played it, all the time. I'm still playing it some right now, but with mods. Right now I have like 3 or 4, because of mods, I have 3 or 4 followers, and they just kill everything for me. I just kind of sit back and watch, and every once in a while I'll just walk up and one-shot somebody. No, I'm playing this one handheld game, not handheld, phone game, I guess. I am level 457 on it.
Dang.
But I've been playing it for 5 years.
Right.
It's a Dragon Ball Z game.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing it for 5 years. So, but I don't know that I count that. I do have some Diablo 3 characters that are in the 100s. There's a level cap, but then they have Paragon levels that you get on top of it. So, but those are those games where you just keep coming back to and just keep playing.
I never played any of the Diablo games.
You are missing out. Diablo 4 is going to be coming out, I don't know, sometime this year, hopefully. And they're remastering Diablo 2 for a console, and it's in alpha right now, so who knows when it'll be out, right. Maybe before the end of this year. They're a lot of fun, and that's probably one of the few games that I've played online with other people. It's like groups of 4, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons for the most part. So as far as raiding with 3 other people and fighting demons from hell, and who doesn't want to do that? 1 minute. I got a little bit further in Yakuza yesterday. Finally I'm able to free roam some.
Got a buddy of mine who streams playing that game on Twitch a lot.
I can't wait to get to more advanced games of it to see how much it's improved, but the fighting style is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like technically being in a kung fu movie and fighting like I fought like 20 guys in a room and walked out in the hallway and to fight a bunch of guys in the hallway, and there's this one guy you beat and he keeps coming back. You go into another room and he's back, and each time he's a little more bloody. It's pretty good. 20 seconds.
Made for Upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
All right, let's rock and roll. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I want to thank Michael from Easley, who called in a few minutes ago and donated. We've got a little ticker that goes across our little dashboard here that tells us when people donate, what station they're listening to, etc. Thanks to Michael, who was our last contributor. We are very grateful to you, Michael, and everybody else that has donated as well during our virtual radio-thon. 844-477. By the way, we got 2 more Miracle Makers during that last break. So we have 6. We only need 4 more, and we've got 18 minutes to get there. Be a miracle maker. That's just $15 a month. $15 a month, and you can be a miracle maker for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. So the Olympics Committee has said athletes protesting are against the rules. That will be the IOC, the International Olympics Committee, says that athletes protesting, that is against the rules, that they will not, and they are considering what punishments they will make against these athletes in order to prevent them from protesting. Now, what's interesting about this, Lonzo, is that these are not new rules. I've seen a lot of people getting upset. Oh, how can they have these? These are not new rules. These rules have been in place for many, many years at the Olympics, where protests are not allowed by athletes, whether it's on the podium or in competition. But for the most part, it's just kind of been something that they don't really put a lot of effort into punishing. They don't really spend a lot of time or bring any hammers down to discipline the athletes who do protest. But the IOC says that they are looking at evaluating this now to decide if they will put a punishment into place this year should athletes elect to protest. A number of American Olympic and Paralympic members have already said that they don't care, that they are still going to protest, that they believe that free speech and peaceful protest is more important than the rules in play. The IOC did a study of over 3,500 athletes. The majority of them said that they do not think that peaceful protest should override the pageantry of the Olympics. But here we are. So, look, my whole thing is I am never against peaceful protest. I know that there are folks who believe time and place, if an athlete wants to raise a fist or whatever else they want to do on the podium after winning a gold medal, it doesn't bother me all that much. So I will be interested to see what conflict, if any, comes if the IOC does decide to start enforcing the rule that has been on the books for many years now, but they've never really enforced it at the Olympics before.
See, to me, when you're in the Olympics, you're representing your country. And it's time to set aside all the problems and complaints that you have with said country and go out there as unified with your fellow athletes and go out there and represent the country. But if you feel like a protest is worth losing your medal over and it's an individual sport, go for it. Because I think that's the harshest punishment they could give would be to take your medal away.
Sure.
But if you are on a team sport and you cost everybody else on your team that medal, then I have a problem with it.
Look, like I said, to me, the representing of the country, you can, and I think this is where I fall on it. You can represent and be proud of your country while still wanting change. You can be very proud of, and obviously we're talking about our own here, you can be very proud of being an American and want to represent the Stars and Stripes, but still want there to be change for the better within it. And that's
I guess, I don't understand. If you are unhappy with your country, why would you go represent your country? I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah, you have the right to protest, but if you're representing your country, why are you going somewhere else to another country to protest the country that you're unhappy with? It's a conflict that makes no sense.
I think because you're conflating I see changes that I think would make the country better with, I think, or I'm unhappy with something, right? Like if I came in last week, this is a terrible analogy, but it's the best one I can fly. I came in last week and said, hey, Zoe, I think we should add some more banners to the wall behind you on the stream to make it look better. That is not the same as saying, I'm unhappy with the ESPN Upstate, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm very happy. I'm very proud of it. I love working here. I wear my ESPN Upstate gear out all the time. I sit here for 3 hours. But if you are talking about something that is far more drastically important to your life than banners, and that is the biggest platform you have to accomplish, you can want something about an entity to change while still love that entity, right? Like if you have a family member that is, I don't know, making a terrible choice with their life that you strongly disagree with, you can still love that person and be proud of that person while wanting them to be to change the decision making that they are making that is hurting them, right? I think that's the outlook towards the protest that I have. The question is going to be, is that the right time and place for it? These athletes say yes. The IOC says no. And we're 2 months away from them having to deliver an answer.
So a perception has a lot to do with things. And I know this is how I perceive it. And I know a lot of people also have the same perception. Why are you representing a country that you're unhappy with just to go there and talk about how you don't like your country? It just doesn't make sense. I realize you have a platform, but at the same time, if you get punished for it, that's and you're willingly going to break a rule. And you know it's not about just here, it's about there. So you're going and disrespecting the country and the decisions of the country that you're going to represent your country in. So you're going there and there are rules in place and you're saying, hey, we're coming to break those rules. Are you willing to lose endorsements? Are you willing to lose your gold medal that you could win over that protest? If you are, fine. It's not a good look. It's not. And there's probably someone else out there who's willing to go and not do all that stuff and go and be a part of a team and represent their country and get their medal and go home.
Again, I think I'm gonna slightly respectfully disagree with you. I think you can. I think you can love a thing, right? I think a lot of people go, "Oh, well, if you're not proud of the country, don't represent." They're not saying they're not proud of the country. They're saying they want to see change within it. There's a difference. I'm very proud.
But here's the thing, though. It's a world stage. So you go to a world stage, you are saying you're not proud of the country. You're saying you're unhappy with where you're coming from. And that's fine. You may very well be. And you have the right to protest. But you make the country look bad, the country that you would like to fix. You make it look even worse by going there in front of the world and doing something, even though you're told you're going to be punished for if you do it.
I think we run into dangerous territory when we start telling people what their message is, as opposed to letting them say what their message is, right? When you start assigning to a person what their if you do this in Japan, what you're really saying, well, no, that's not what they're really saying. They're telling you what they're really saying. But when you start assigning them a different meaning to their protest, I think that's where we get into a spot where there's a lot of communication that creates issues where there don't necessarily need to be one.
We can use pretty words and things like that, but in the end, if you go to another country representing your country, and you protest, you're saying your country is broken and it looks really bad everywhere else. If you don't care about that, that's fine. And there are a lot of people who just because you think one way doesn't mean your way of thinking is right. And just because I think one way doesn't mean my thinking is right. But everywhere else, when they look at these people protesting, they think, wow, why would I want to go there? And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe, I don't know.
I'd be willing to bet, Zoe. I'd be willing to bet a paycheck or three that there are one or two things about this country you think we could do better. I'd be willing to bet.
You know what? In my job, there are some things here that I think I could do better.
Sure.
You know, there absolutely are. But I'm going to abide by the rules, and I'm not going to do something to get myself punished on purpose. And I'm not going to do something to try and make this company look bad on purpose, just to draw attention to what I think is wrong with it. while you're on American soil, if you want to protest, whether I agree with your protest or not, that's fine. But when you go somewhere else, you're representing us. And if you're unhappy with who you're representing, it makes no sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingalls Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Lonzo text line says, ESPN, so Lonzo thinks that Carl Lewis shouldn't have raised his fist on the podium. Yeah, those raised fists after the gold medal years ago, one of the most iconic moments of all time, would have been done away with if this rule was enacted.
Well, I'm not a historian, but I didn't think that was Carl Lewis. I thought that was two other guys, but I'll have to look into that.
It was, and I am a bad radio show host for having forgotten the name. But it's more the point of the message. It was Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Tommy Smith and John Carlos were the two athletes who did that at the 1968 Summer Olympics. But yeah, one of the most iconic Olympic moments of all time that this rule would have prevented. Take a break. We'll tell you one more time of our virtual radiothon. Then we'll hit hour number 3. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. Happy Friday, y'all. It's ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
We've been telling you about the Children's Hospital of the Upstate with Prisma. Now it's time to realize that, hey, man, you need health care too. All we have is our health, and we have very limited amounts of it. And there is no more important asset to you in your life than your health. That's it. That's all you got. That's your only option. So don't you want to take care of it? Don't you want to know that the people that are working with you to take care of it are the best? That's why you need to check out our friends at Prisma Health. Go to prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org. You can learn about their more than 2,400 healthcare providers and find the doctor that's right for you. Plus, find a facility that is right for you, that is convenient to you. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more, prismahealth.org to learn more, and get yourself all set up. You can create an appointment right there online. You can find a doctor that's right for you online. It is phenomenal because they are looking out for you. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. That's prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma Health here in the Upstate.
We will have about a minute when we come back.
We. Let's see what's over here in the chat. Brandon says Interstellar is awesome. Yeah, man, Interstellar is great. I got it on right now in the background, as a matter of fact. A little McConaughey action. Hook says I have to agree with Zoe on this one. Sitting out of the Olympics would be the best for a protest. If you go, you should not protest. I don't have an issue with it. And at the end of the day, people's right to speak is important. I look, if they enforce the rule, it'll be up to the athletes. If they want to go win a gold medal and then surrender that gold medal in order to protest, there will be some people who will and some that won't. So Zoe brought up a great point, which would be the interesting thing would be what would happen if a individual on a team decided to protest. If like one person on let's say the 100-meter relay team was to protest and would they surrender the medal at that point? Would they take the medal away from the whole team?
Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
We need one more miracle worker to hit our goal for this hour. One more person to call 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437, or to text Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999. One more person to pledge $15 a month and become a miracle worker to hit our goal. I would be honored if you guys would have ESPN round out our goal. Give that number a call, 877-719-5437. 1 hour left. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFBC.
Oh, man. What else you want to talk about, Lonzo? The content cash cow?
Sorry, I'm smiling about the Skynet promo.
It's a good promo.
I'd pat myself on the back, but my back would be sore from all the times that I'd have to pat myself on the back. Don't know why I went into Stephen A. Smith cadence there at the end, but you know.
Listen, I'm personal friends with Lonzo. All right? He's a friend of mine. I got his number in my phone.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Let's get it. The last hour, the money hour, the final hour of the week is here on the Rob Brown Show. And ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Lonzo, the great one. Colonel Grudge, hashtag DadKids. Back in the network studio, pushing the button, switching the switches, in charge of the broadcast. Be a part of the show, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. That's the Ingalls Market text line. It's 71307. But we also are telling you, we got another phone number for you to call. It's 877-719-KIDS. 877-719-5437. Or the Trammell and Mills text line. We're asking you to text Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999, the Trammell and Mills text line. We are asking you to donate to the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. The Children's Hospital of the Upstate is the premier healthcare facility for the next generation right here in the Upstate. And look, last year, they had over 500,000 appointments, and they have never turned a kid away, regardless of their ability to pay. You feel however you want to feel about the American healthcare system, the upgrades and whatever. But at the end of the day, if there's one group of people we should never question whether they should be helped or not, it should be our kids. It should be the kids of this community and the communities around us. They have never turned a child away because of their inability to pay, which is one of the reasons that we are asking for your support for the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. They do incredible work. They 100% make the Children's Hospital of the Upstate a safe, comfortable place for these kids that find themselves with a bad hand dealt to them. We have played you the stories of a number of the miracle kids that go through the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to tell you about another one. In fact, one of my favorite kids, Wyatt Banks, was diagnosed with celiac disease, and Prisma Health dietitians help her family develop a gluten-free diet to keep Austin healthy and growing. Every year, he gets into a wheelchair race before Radiothon with our buddy Stoneman from over on the planet. And I got to tell you, Zoe, there's not much I look forward to more than watching Stoneman get his wheels handed back to him in the wheelchair race every single year. It is our kickoff to Radiothon. You can go to the Radiothon Facebook page and watch Stoneman get absolutely wrecked once again in the wheelchair race. And it's kids like that are the reason we are doing what we're doing here.
Oh, I completely agree. It's always fun to watch. And don't give the Planet credit. Stoneman's a Classic
That's
Rock
right,
101.
Classic Rock, yep.
Yeah, those Planet guys, they don't need any credit. Yeah, they definitely are. But watching him race him every year is definitely a highlight. I was hoping to someday be, and it's a shame we couldn't be there this year to actually see it in person. And something else that you're not going to get experience this year is no teddy bears being thrown.
Correct.
Which every year is, from what I understand, a highlight. And also, I hear that Mark Ryan's throwing arm is just not there.
Yeah, I was there last, stayed after the show last year when we were going live from Radiothon. And when we get to the end, it got to the point where it just became, Lonzo, it just became an absolute stuffed animal fight. People were throwing plushy footballs at each other. So you haven't lived. You haven't lived until you've taken a plastic football to the nose, but can't break cadence on your talk radio show.
There you go. 2 years ago when Mark first got here, I asked Stoneman to please be the first one to hit him with one of those, and he accomplished that. So I wouldn't call that a hit necessarily.
It's a love tap.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put out a hit on him, but yeah, for sure. And hearing it, you could physically, I mean, you could audibly hear him ducking while he was trying to do the show, it's always fun, and it's always in great fun, and it's for the kids. And from what I understand, the kids always enjoy seeing that at the end of the day, right before the celebration, before we're able to tell everybody how much money we were able to raise for the kids. It's always a cool thing.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP ESPN, Texas 71307. But also call 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437, or text Radio Cares to 91999. This hour of the show, we are collecting money to purchase Halo Sleep Sacks. Halo Sleep Sacks. These are for babies in the newborn nursery. It allows parents to swaddle them to promote safe sleep at home and reduce the need to come back. Listen, they cost $22 a piece. All right. They cost $22 a piece. They need 45 new Halo Sleep Sacks. That's only 5 Miracle Makers by the end of the hour. And even if you can't become a miracle maker, even if you can't pledge $15 a month because you've got some uncertainty to deal with in your life, whatever the case might be, that's completely understandable. But if you got $22 that you're sitting on right now, call in and make a one-time donation. Call 1-877-719-KIDS, 1-877-719-5437, or text Radio Cares, all one word, to the Tremolo Mills text line at 91999, 91999. Do that and give a one-time donation of $22. Help us purchase one of the 45 new Halo Sleep Sacks that we need, and help these mothers with newborn and premature kids create these safe sleep practices and reduce the odds that they will need to come back to the Children's Hospital of the Upstate in the near future. Again, call 1-877-719-5437, 1-877-719-KIDS, or text Radio Cares to the Tremolo Mills text line at 91999, 91999. Become a one-time donor or become a miracle maker. Donate that $15 recurring every month, and help the kids. Help the kids of the Upstate, man. The folks at the Children's Hospital of the Upstate are incredible. We talked about this earlier. Look, I'm in my mid-30s. Zoe's in his early 40s. All right. Neither one of us likes going to hospitals. Neither one of us. We both are afraid of hospitals. I talk all the time. You bring me into the lobby of a hospital, I am dead silent, man. I can't stand them. These guys do such an incredible job. Last year when we were at Radiothon and I got the opportunity to speak with some of the kids that are there, when I got the opportunity to speak with some of the kids that were there, one of the things I asked them, I didn't say, "Oh, you're afraid of the hospital," because I'm not a bad person. But I got into the conversation about, "Hey, man, tell me about coming to the hospital." And all of them were like, "I get excited to come here. I get to see the doctors and the nurses and my friends, and everybody's so nice, and they have stuff for me to do and play with while I'm getting my." It was incredible to talk to these kids. And Lonzo, to talk to so many of them. They're not dumb. They know, many of them, they know their situation. They know the fight. They know the battle that they've got ahead of them. And Zoe, I almost felt like a bad person because I have these spots where I look and I go, oh, this dumb little thing has ruined my day. And then you talk to these kids who are battling childhood cancer, or these kids with Down syndrome or leukemia that have this lifelong fight ahead of them. And so they're happy and they're smiling and they're laughing and they're playing and they're hugging and they're high-fiving. I mean, dude, if we could bottle up their enthusiasm for life and turn it into a medicine, the world would be a better place automatically. And it's only because of the Children's Hospital of the Upstate giving them that opportunity and that ability that they're able to have that zest for life that we should all desire to have.
Completely agree. And one way that you can help them help the kids is by donating. And you should do that now. If you've been putting it off, you've been saying, well, I'm going to do that a little bit later. Today is the last day. So you need to do it. You need to do it right now. And just go ahead and donate. You don't have to donate that much. Just donate what you can. And every little bit will help the children.
Yeah. And you can donate by calling 877-719-KIDS. 877-719-5437. Text Radio Cares, all one word, to the Tremolo Mills text line at 91999. 91999. Text Radio Cares. Become a miracle maker. Pledge to donate $15 a month moving forward, or give a one-time donation. Those $22 donations will help buy another Halo sleep sack for babies in the newborn nursery. So incredibly grateful to all of you that have donated. To those of you that are planning on donating, please do. Please do. Help us help these kids. We are so, so grateful to you. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to introduce you to one more miracle child that has had their life impacted by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Then we'll get some sports talk on the way out the door. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.
So I'm trying to figure out why Chuck E. Cheese is trending, and I couldn't figure it out on Twitter, so I just Googled Chuck E. Cheese, and one of the first headlines is local Chuck E. Cheese unsure whether to embrace or condemn rodent infestation. I don't know if that's the reason why.
Right, gotta be.
It's in the Stanford Daily, whatever that is. Yeah, if you have a rat problem at the
rat restaurant,
at the Chuck E. Cheese, why are you letting everyone know about it? Let us quote.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to quote the manager. If we embrace the mice, their droppings become an additional health concern for our nervous customers who are already spooked by COVID. When I think of Chuck E. Cheese, I now think of Nicolas Cage. You need to watch that movie.
The animatronics one?
Oh yeah, you got to watch it. You got to. You will thank me. Again, he doesn't say a word in the entire movie. Not one single word. Best acting job he's ever done. So I introduced my granddaughter to lizards over the weekend. Turns out she's not a fan.
The lizards?
Yeah, we have lizards.
Okay.
And we
like outside lizards.
Yeah. No. We don't have any inside.
Gotcha.
That we're aware of. But we live in the woods. You never know. Every once in a while, I think I see eyes. But there was one inside of her. We built her a little clubhouse. I think made out of cedar, like last year or something like that, and she loves to go out and play in it. There was a very green lizard in it, and she would not go in it. So I tried to stop her from being afraid of it, and my wife is mortally afraid of lizards too, by the way. I don't get it. Yeah, they don't bite or
cute little lizards.
Yeah,
they'll bite.
Will they bite? I don't know.
Yeah, the little green, like the little green brush, they'll bite. It doesn't hurt, but they'll definitely clamp down and put a little pressure on you.
Oh, okay. So I walked over and I even touched the tail and everything, and she decided to rear her head back and just start screaming. It's like, okay. It's one of those, you wish you had your phone out, but there's so many memories that you miss because you're too busy trying to videotape it or something. I will always remember that. 1 minute. It's funny. My wife does the exact same thing when she sees lizards. Can't get her to go into her gazebo right now because there are 2 lizards in there. I go in there and sit. They look like they're going to fight. It's cool.
I've always wanted a chameleon as a pet.
Yeah, it's the kind of lizards who have the neck thing.
Yep.
So they're both looking at it like they're flexing at each other. The neck thing's coming out. And I'm like, okay, they're going to go. They're going to go. And it just never happens. So disappointed. 20 seconds.
Come a chameleon. You come and go.
Just got banned in Korea again.
You come and go. Hey, listen, Kim Jong-un, if you don't appreciate Boy George.
Messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show. ESPN Upstate.
So all day long, we have been sharing with you the stories of some of the kids that have had their lives impacted by the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Why? Because we want you to have a firsthand direct experience with exactly where your money is going when you donate to the virtual radiothon. Your money stays 100% local. It stays here in the community to help the kids of the community, and you are quite literally saving lives, right? We can't all have Iron Man suits and swing around New York, but you can still be a superhero. And you can still save a life by donating to the virtual radiothon and the Children's Hospital of the Upstate. Wyatt and Austin Banks. Austin Banks was diagnosed with celiac disease, and Prisma Health dietitians helped her family develop a gluten-free diet to help keep Austin healthy and growing. And after getting her stomach pain under control, Austin developed joint pain, which led to a diagnosis of juvenile idiopathic arthritis by Prisma Health Pediatric Rheumatology. And since then, the Banks family has been working in order to make sure that Austin has the most normal childhood possible. That's what they do. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is yet another story from a miracle child that your money will go directly to help.
Hi, my name is Wyatt and I'm 6 years old. Hi, my name is Austin and I'm 8 years old.
Hi, my name is Abby Banks, and I'm from Greenwood, South Carolina, and 2 of my 3 children are patients at Prisma Health Children's Hospital Upstate.
I want you to be happier when the morning comes and we see what we've become. In the cold light of day, we're a flame in the wind, not the fire that we begun.
We first came to Children's Hospital in 2013 when Wyatt was 7 months old. We put a healthy baby to bed. And by morning, he was paralyzed from the neck down and struggling to breathe. And we were given a diagnosis of transverse myelitis. It's a 1 in a million autoimmune disease. His body had literally attacked his spinal cord. There was no accident, no fall, no reason for what had happened to him. And in an instant, we thought that all our hopes and dreams for our little boy were wiped away. I remember when we were in the PICU that first day and just completely overwhelmed with the diagnosis that we had been given. His PICU nurse, Ann, told us not to be scared of all the beeps and the noises and the things that we were going to hear. She said, I don't want you to panic unless I panic. And she never panicked. 4 years ago, Austin was not growing very well, was having a lot of stomach pain, and she was diagnosed with celiac disease. And we were sent to Prisma Health Children's Hospital Upstate for gastroenterology to confirm her diagnosis and to meet with nutritionists so that we could get her on a plan and a diet that would get her healthy, would help her to start to grow and help us understand what she needs to be the best that she could be.
Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier.
Austin, what's your favorite part about being at the hospital?
The therapy dogs.
The therapy dogs? Do you remember when you had your procedure and they had to put you to sleep?
Yes.
Who did you fall asleep on?
Vivi.
Vivi, you had your arms wrapped around her neck and we had to pry her out of your arms. Wyatt spent 14 days in the PICU during his initial diagnosis. And the thing about having a child with a chronic illness is that the days that they spend in the hospital, they don't get added back to the end of childhood. Those days are lost. But thanks to Radiothon and what the Children's Miracle Network does, that money raised gives my child today. The hospital budget gives them a future, but what the community and what listeners who call in give them are today. They let them be little. They give them all the things that make childhood childhood. The toys, the dogs, the arts, the craft, and they let me be mom by providing beds to lay next to them, by providing rockers so that I can rock my baby and comfort him when he needs his mama more than he needs a nurse. And I just thank God that Children's Hospital was there for us, that we had the ability to drive to a children's hospital that was able to care for my children.
Thank you for listening to Radiothon.
This miracle moment brought to you by Ingalls.
Here's something I bet you didn't know.
Every year, the Children's Hospital uses 81,000 diapers. We really need your help.
This Prisma Children's Hospital Upstate Fact is brought to you by REWA.
You're listening to the Children's Hospital Radiothon.
Thank you. On ESPN Upstate.
I gotta tell you, Zoe, if there's a sound that makes me as happy as hearing the laughs of these little kids who have just been dealt a terrible hand, who have these lifelong issues that they are going to have to fight as they go through all of this, to hear them laugh when they're telling jokes and they're telling stories. I got to meet a bunch of these kids last year face to face, and they love nothing more than to tell you a joke. They love nothing more than to tell you a story. And when you hear them laugh, when you hear them tell you a joke or a story and just start laughing, so that's why we're doing this, man, to be able to give these kids an opportunity in their life to just laugh. And it's incredible. It's incredible, that sound.
Oh, completely. Listening to the story, as soon as, you can't help but smile. And it's so cool that they're able to smile through these adverse situations. And the fact that the people at Children's Hospital really do everything they can to put those smiles on their faces. And you get the chance right now, the opportunity to help them help the kids by donating right now. Don't wait. Do it right now.
Yeah, it's your opportunity. Like I said, you don't have to be a superhero to save a life. Here's a really good opportunity for you to do it. 877-719-KIDS. 877-719-5437. 877-719-KIDS. Or text Radio Cares, one word, to 91999. That's the Tremolo Mills text line. Text Radio Cares to 91999 and become one of those miracle makers. $15 a month will make you a miracle maker. Ladies and gentlemen, we are trying to get those Halo sleep sacks. We needed to get 45 over the course of our virtual radiothon the last 2 days. Zoe, you know how many we need to hit our goal for the entire virtual radiothon of 45?
How many?
3 more.
Only 3?
We need 3 more. 3 more. They're $22. All right. They're $22. If you call in right now, make a donation of $22. If I can get 3 of you to call in and make a donation of $22, we will hit our goal for those Halo sleep sacks before the end of our show. Forget the rest of the day. If you get us there, you can get us there to hit our goal by the end of this show. That's incredible. $22 is all it's going to take. I need 3 people to donate $22. Call 877-719-KIDS, 877-719-5437, or text Radio Cares, all one word, to the Tremolo Mills text line at 91999. Let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, run through some of the big stories coming up this weekend, preview some games you'll want to keep an eye on, talk a little bit about that big UFC fight tomorrow night, and then Twitter trending topics to wrap it all up on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen up.
I'm so grateful for cell phones with, cameras on it, because there was a time back in the day when something would happen and you would tell engineering about it and they would come in and you couldn't recreate it. But now I've taken a picture of something that I've never seen before and I can send it to engineering.
What's busted?
It's not, but it's, well, I don't want to say. It's something that says it requires a login.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I shouldn't be happening on that computer. A golf cart in the next break, by the way.
Beautiful. Yes, it is. Thank you, Keegan. Thank you.
You feel like you're vindicated or something? Because, people are telling me, okay.
I just need you to watch it. It's so good. But yes, we all want personal validation, don't we?
Well, there have been quite a few things that I've asked you to watch and you haven't watched them, so,
my brother is going to let me borrow his...
yeah, you don't need to say that. You shouldn't say that online.
I'm giving him a 6-pack of beer. He's getting his money back.
Yeah, but you still shouldn't say it online.
I totally legitimately have an HBO subscription.
Yeah, there we go. I'm just here to help, man.
Well, Zoe, I've been called helpless many times.
It's not that I don't have a comment to make. It's just sometimes it's better not to say anything. Helpless is me looking at that screen wondering what that is. It says, please relog in as soon as possible. But realizing that I only have 30 minutes, then it's someone else's problem. That's not a good way to look at things. That's not really how I'm looking at it. Obviously, I'm trying to take care of it. And it's probably, there are like commands that pop up on, it's the computer where the commercials play. That's why there's a concern. We don't want the system to crash and not be able to play commercials. Then you have to talk for 29 minutes straight, or 28.
I've done it before.
Yeah, me too. Come back.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Getting the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. We have gotten one more of our Halo Sleep Sacks. We just need two more to meet our goal. We just need two more to meet our goal for the entire radiothon. We will have gotten all 45. I want to thank Robert. Robert called in, listening here in Greenville. Robert called in and pledged. He was able to not only purchase one of them, but put money towards another purchase of one. So, Robert, thank you very, very much for listening. And thank you for pledging. And for the rest of you, do us a favor. Again, $22. If you got it laying around, a one-time donation, we'll buy one of those sleep sacks or become a miracle maker and pledge that $15 per month and help these kids, man, especially the brand newborns, man, the brand newborns. We just need two more to meet the goal. And we very much hope to make that by the end of this show. 844-GSP-ESPN. Check on the Ingles Market text line. Here's a few texts that have come in so far at ESPN. Where'd it go? Oh, I had one just a second ago. At ESPN, Rob, common man, Lonzo is right on this one. Olympic athletes should be able to protest and use their platform for the greater good, but not at the Olympics, where the premise is you are representing your country and your pride in it. End quote. Lonzo, I read this one for you to respond to. Can Clownzo ever have an opinion that differs from the conservative talking points? End quote. I'm just going to mute my mic here, Zoe. It's all you now. You can just take that on.
Yeah, here's what I would say. I love the arts. There.
Lonzo, that was my favorite thing you have ever said on this radio station. I want you to know that. That was my favorite thing you have ever said.
You're welcome.
Absolutely beautiful. At ESPN, wow, I agree with Alonzo and the last piece of the segment on which he says, save your protest for the place you disagree, not on a world platform. That is from Yankee Fan for Life. And he throws up the number 4 because wrestling, Alonzo. For life.
See, I think 4 horsemen, but, different generations. There we go.
True story. All right, so thanks for the text. Keep them coming on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text at ESPN so we can read them on the air. Lonzo, both fighters for UFC 261, Kamaru Usman, Jorge Masvidal, they have both made weight for their title rematch. That one is official. This one's going to be down there in the armpit of the world, Jacksonville, Florida. Usman is your current champ, 18-1 in his professional career, 13-0 overall in the UFC. Masvidal is 35-14 overall, but 12-7 in the UFC. Both of them made their weight. Now, what was interesting about both of them hitting the 170 catch weight or guide weight, they also both made it for their first fight, the last fight they had, but Masvidal took that fight with Usman on 6 days' notice and claimed he had to cut 26 pounds during fight week in order to make weight. He was given roughly 6 weeks' notice for this rematch. And if you watched the weigh-in, which I watched this morning, dude, he looks like a fighter. I mean, he looks significant. In the last one he came in, he looked a little bit tired. He looked a little bit lethargic. When he got into the octagon, he kind of had that same look about him. But today at the weigh-in, man, he looked energetic. He looked spry. He looked full. He looked healthy. He did not have that same air of almost overwhelming challenge ahead of them that he had when he weighed in for the first fight, Zoe. I was excited about this fight yesterday, but after seeing what I just saw at that weigh-in earlier this morning, Zoe, this might be this might be a fight of the year candidate, honestly.
For sure. By the way, my other computer just tried to reboot. So whatever gremlins there are, wait for Diesel. Yeah. He appreciates you more than I do.
Give me 23 more minutes. I don't feel like working that hard.
Yeah, I looked up at the screen a couple times because we have ESPN on in the studio, and they just keep showing Masvidal on the scale over and over again, and how cut that dude is. And here's the other thing: there's a look in his eyes that he didn't have in his eyes the first time he fought Usman. The look in his eyes is the same look that he had when he took out Ben Askren in 5 seconds or whatever it was. He has that same look, and this is less of the braggadocio that he is. This is more of that quiet confidence that I'm going to go in and get work done, and it's scary. That look in his eyes is very scary. I cannot wait for this fight.
We asked yesterday what the difference would be for fighters having fans in attendance. Lonzo asked me, do you think it has an impact on fighters? And my answer is yes. I think it has an impact on every fighter, some better, some for the positive, some for the negative. But I also think, and we talked about this, when that bell rings and round one starts, I've never fought in an MMA fight, but I would be willing to bet. That most fighters don't even recognize the crowd, right? Like if your focus isn't 100% directed at the guy across who's trying to knock your block off, it's bad. It's a bad thing. It's not great, right?
Well, there's something that I can throw out there. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts from WWE where a podcast called After the Bell, where they were talking to a lot of the guys at WrestleMania and how nervous and excited they were before they went out, because it's the first time in a year in front of fans. And they had like 25,000 fans there, which is nothing compared to what it usually is for WrestleMania, because it's like 80, 90,000 usually. But still, they quite a few of them said it's the same feel that they would have going out in front of that many people that they had going out just a couple of weeks ago. So I think that the UFC fighters are going to have that. They're going to have the nerves. They're going to have the excitement. The problem is keeping that adrenaline in check, because the crowd can make your adrenaline spike. And if it spikes too quickly and you come down from that, well, then you're in trouble in the octagon. And the other thing about Masvidal, he's from Florida. It's in Florida. He's probably more than likely will have the backing of the crowd.
Hashtag Florida, man. Yeah, I think you're right. And you mentioned that look in his eyes, right? That look in his eyes when he took to the weigh-in and he made the weight, which he did not have in the last one, which I don't look. So, dude, if I want to lose 26 pounds, it'd take me 6 months. All right. That dude lost it in 7 days, 6 days, whatever.
Well, I've lost a considerable amount of weight in my life. Listen to my commercials. So I know what that's like and what a process that is. And I also know what it's like to try to cut 5 or 6 pounds when I was a high school wrestler and how difficult that was. But the fact that he dropped that much weight in that short of time, it really takes a toll on you. Just losing 5 or 6 pounds in a couple of days can take a toll on you. Losing, what'd you say, 26 pounds? That's rough.
That's what he claimed. I doubt he went a full 26. He may have done 17, 18, but even still, I mean, dropping 15 plus pounds in 6 days, right? Dropping 3 pounds a day. That is eating nothing, drinking nothing for a week. That is exercising for hours a day, like hardcore exercising for hours a day, every day. And even if, because you get you basically get 2 days between weigh-in and fight. They will do a ceremonial weigh-in tomorrow. Today was the official one. They'll do one in front of the fans tomorrow. Still got to make weight for it, I believe. You still got to make weight for it. But with that being said, what I am most intrigued by, you talked about that look in the eyes, Zoe, that he didn't have last time, and he does here. He knows he's the Vegas dog, right? Like these guys know when they're the dog. They know when they're considered outmatched. They know when they are in a spot that no one believes they can get that dub, including the guy lined up across from them. And that's why I think that's a good chunk of the reason why I'm really entertained by this fight, where I'm really energized by this fight, because I think we have hit a point with these two guys. I think we've hit a point where they are both legacy fighting at this point, right? If Usman wins this fight and maintains, goes to 19-1 and champ, that is big time. If Masvidal loses this fight, you got to think this is probably it for his championship opportunities. This is not, I'm fighting to become a number one contender. This is, if I lose this fight, I will not get another opportunity at the belt. This fight, like I said, Zoe, I think it's got fight of the year written all over it.
Speaking of belts, Masvidal has his own belt, the BMF belt. If you go out and you lose to the same guy twice, do you have to abdicate that belt? Do you need to just take it off and lay it in the octagon because you've lost twice to the same guy? Last time you have an excuse. You do because of the weight cut and taking the fight on short notice. This time you don't. If you lose, I think you got to you no longer deserve to wear that belt.
True story. All right, let's take, I'll tell you what, we're a little bit early, but we'll make it up. Let's take our final break. When we come back, Twitter trending topics. We talk about what you're talking about around the Upstate. Zoe tells me what's trending on Twitter. I give you 30 to 45 seconds about what I know about it. If I don't know anything about it, I make it up, because that's how I've made a career so far. And then we'll tell you one more time about how you can help the kids over at the Children's Hospital of the Upstate in the last segment of our virtual radiothon here on the Rob Brown Show. It will continue all the way through Offsides with Mark Ryan. We're back right after this on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Upstate golf cart.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
You a golfer? I'm a golfer. That's why I, the day it became available, picked up my Upstate golf cart, and now you can do the same. Spring is in the air. We're going to get a little rain on Saturday, which means it's going to be beautiful on Sunday. It means the greens and the fairways are going to be nice and soft and receptive for you. Grab the golf cart now and get out there and play a little golf while the spring weather is beautiful. The Preserve at Verde, Pebble Creek, Legacy Pines, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Carolina Springs, Willow Creek, Links of Tryon, Rolling Green Golf Club, and the club at Brookstone, new to the card this year. You're going to get a round at all of them for just $99. Just $99 is going to get you around at all 9 courses. That's less than $15 a round, over $450 in value for just $99. That's less than $1 a hole, man. Like, you will not get a better deal than that. Upstate South Carolina, I promise. Go to the website right now, upstategolfcard.com, to get all the details. And more importantly, just buy yours now at upstategolfcard.com. It's the Upstate Golf Card. All right, hitting the restroom. I shall return briefly. Because of the weight of this microphone, it wears out microphone stand heads about every 2 months. So if you just heard that giant collapse a second ago, it's because the mic fell and hit me right in the knee.
I didn't hear the collapse. I heard the interference or whatever you're doing now to fix it, but I was out of the room and saw a stranger in the building. Luckily, they didn't see me.
A stranger?
Think about it. It's a joke.
10-4. We just had another ESPN listener call in and put $50 down. Another one put another $50 down. So ESPN Upstate representing right now on the donation board, man.
Way to go, guys.
Go. Let me bring us back real quick with that, Zoe, and then we'll jump into Twitter. Was that all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me answer Keegan really quick. And okay, I got to fix that.
You got to fix that?
No, I gotta fix it since I gotta put another liner in to come back the way that. Anyway, I'll have it ready. Hold on.
Oh, I got you.
All right, Keegan, the answer to your question is 7 p.m., 7 to 9 tomorrow night. Live on Facebook. Always live on Facebook. And live on my Twitter, although I don't think anyone's watching on the Twitter, so I'm about ready to change it.
Twitter's tough because most people are just kind of scrolling by.
Yeah.
You know?
Says, email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put you to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show, local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio, it's ESPN Upstate. Real quick, before we get to Twitter trending topics, I want to thank you guys because I just checked over a second ago on our dashboard, and you guys are awesome, man. ESPN Upstate has absolutely showed out for our radiothon. Richard from Taylor's sent in a donation. Sean from Spartanburg has sent in a donation. Robert from Greenville has sent in a donation. William from Simpsonville has sent in.
You know, that was yours, and you just kind of threw it on the ground.
No, wait, what? Oh, your mic was on when it went.
Yeah. Well, the mic wasn't on. You could hear me.
I said it right after I said Robert from Greenville, and I'm like, no, that wasn't mine. I didn't hear mine.
I apologize. I'm used to being alone in here.
All good. So thank you. You guys showed out. That should, I believe, get us the Halo Sleep Sacks and meet our goal there, which is fantastic. I'm so grateful, man. It's so nice. It's so cool. I mean, look, let's just call a spade here. We're considered the little guys in our cluster of stations. All right. We're the newest station. We're the little dudes. To be able to flip to that dashboard and watch the donations come in one after the next, all with ESPN attached to the back of them, knowing that you guys are participating. I cannot tell you how truly and genuinely grateful I am to you. Because I know that they see it. I know that it shows just how big, how quickly growing this station is, and how just the character of the people who listen to it every day. It's incredibly satisfying. I am incredibly grateful. I know I can speak on behalf of Lonzo and Mark and Diesel, all saying the same thing. When I opened that dashboard a second ago to see that like 5 of the most recent 6 donations coming in were all from ESPN Upstate, man, that's incredible. So thank you guys so very much for doing that, for participating, for being involved, for donating, and for showing how much ESPN Upstate, how much the listeners care, how much we have grown. It means the world to me, and I say that with all sincerity, man. So it is so cool to flip over to that donation page and just see ESPN absolutely showing out in donating to our virtual radiothon.
Yeah, you guys are meeting and going beyond expectations for what we have at the station. I talked about how we have such a giving audience, and this is just proof. And you know what? You still have time. So, but not a lot of time. You got You got 4 more hours to give. So if you were considering giving and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get around to it. Well, don't wait. Do it right now. Give what you can for the children, and they would appreciate it, and we would appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. All right, let's wrap it up with a little Twitter trending topics, Lonzo.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending, and he will tell everybody in the world, except for Korea and those other countries, Cuba, yeah. All those countries that banned us because they're not listening right now.
They don't get to hear it. We have officially gotten under the skin of Kim Jong-un, and you know what? I don't even care. I don't even care, Alonzo. He can just eat it. We love freedom.
You've been coming hard at the little guy from Korea. Not like he doesn't deserve it. All right, the first thing trending is Baker Mayfield.
Baker trending because Baker got that extension from the Cleveland Browns. He has now signed his 5th-year option. He is now signed through 2023. I believe they have picked up the 5th-year option. Look, I'm excited for Baker Mayfield, Zoe. I think the kid's got the potential. I don't know that he'll reach like Drew Brees status in the game, but I think he is more than good enough to get the Browns to the next level. Absolutely believe he's more than good enough to get the Browns to the next level.
And he had a ton of doubters early on, but one thing that for the first time ever, it seems like, at least in my lifetime as someone from Ohio, Cleveland is actually putting people around a quarterback. Not just that, they're actually fielding a defense, especially after just signing Clowney to shore up that defensive line. They look good, and they look like they could be a contender next year. And we've been saying that the last couple of years, but they look really good last year. And the majority, if not all of that team's coming back this year. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. And they should have given him that. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Browns have built a team around Baker Mayfield. That dude's going to be I love it. And the confidence has never been lacking. Now he's got the weapons to show where that confidence is coming from.
All right, the next thing that is trending is Tony Stark.
Tony Stark trending on Twitter. Obviously, Marvel's has had a couple of things trending on Twitter. I don't know why Tony Stark is trending. I was curious to see how do I say this without spoiling anything?
No, you're going to spoil. Don't do that.
No, I don't think I am. There is some new tech that shows up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I wondered if they were going to credit it to Stark Industries to kind of keep Tony Stark connected. Does not appear that they have or that they are going to.
Without knowing exactly what it does, Wakanda and Shuri from Wakanda actually is she may be just as smart, if not smarter than Tony Stark. Yep. So it's not really a surprise. Here's the reason why it's trending. Californians have put up a billboard petitioning, asking, begging Disney to bring back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Look, I loved RDJ as Tony Stark. I don't think there has been, honestly, Zoe, I don't think there's been a better superhero casting in any of the superhero movies than RDJ as Tony Stark. I think he was perfect for that role. And the death that he had, I think was as fitting and suitable of a send-off as I can remember in recent movies. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And as much as I love to see more of that character, I think you have to let that story be done, only because the Marvel universe has so many more stories to be told. And if we keep harping on the same story and the same character, you risk missing out on some really, really great stories down the line.
All right, here's the thing with that. Comic books, they bring back dead, heroes all the time. And Robert Downey Jr. has done nothing but flop since he left Captain America. I'm not Captain America, but Iron Man. And so I think he probably wants to come back because of how bad. I didn't watch Dr. Dolittle, but I hear it was pretty bad. And just from the previews, it looked bad to me, so I didn't watch it. So
I love his Sherlock Holmes movies.
Oh,
I love
yeah,
them.
but
So campy bad. I love them.
I completely agree with that. But those were out before.
Yeah.
Before his death.
I don't think RDJ is gonna be hurting for options, right? And he's made some great comedies. He made a movie. I can't remember what it's called. Those of you in the chat might remember. He made a movie with Zach Galifianakis. Can't remember what it's called, but it's absolutely hysterical. I think he's fine. Again, look, if RDJ says specifically, I want to come back and do more Tony Stark, I mean, I wouldn't be the one to tell him no. I don't think the Marvel Universe exists if it wasn't for how good he was as Iron Man in the first movie. But you had a character death that was meaningful. And if we get to the point, Zoe, where every time somebody dies, we bring them back, you take away the threat of consequence within the MCU. And I don't want that.
All right. The next thing that's trending and still trending is Sasquatch.
So there is a new documentary out on Peacock where you watched it, Zoe. So without spoiler, the understanding I have, some pot farmers got murdered, and there's some people that believe Bigfoot did it.
All right. So first of all, it's on Hulu. So I don't want people going to go to Peacock looking for it. It's on Hulu. And what it is, there's a famous embedded reporter, and I cannot remember his name. He's been embedded with the skinheads. He's been embedded with gangs in LA and several other things. So, an embedded reporter, they go in, they put themselves in danger. They pretend to be something so they can get the inside story. Sure. And I'll just give you this as a teaser for it. He was in trouble with those gangs. They had a hit out on him. So he decided to go to a friend who was working at a pot farm in California in 1993. While there, some guys came and said that Sasquatch had killed 3 guys and ripped them completely apart. Now that you may think, well, why am I going to watch a Bigfoot thing? You need to watch this. Just the investigative reporting alone and all the things this guy uncovers and the twist at the end, it's definitely well worth it.
So it's, first off, let's be clear. It's not Bigfoot, but there's still a good story to be told. Good enough for me, so good enough for me.
I can neither confirm or deny that it was Bigfoot.
Right, I'll have a report on Monday. One more thing to do. That's it. Offsides with Mark Ryan is coming up next. Make sure you stick around for that. Again, do us a favor. Keep donating to our virtual radiothon. Call 1-877-719-5437 or text Radio Cares, all one word, to 91999 to give. Thank you guys so much for giving over the last 2 days. We appreciate it greatly. I am Rob Brown for Lonzo. This was the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYO.